when a man constantly heaps praise upon dictators across the globe, Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, Viktor Orban, these types, when that same man threatens violence against the supporters of his opponent, when that same man who's done those things executes a seditious conspiracy to overthrow the government violently, like Donald Trump did, when that same man also says that he wants to terminate all rules, regulations, and articles up to and including the Constitution of the United States, and says, I want to be a dictator on day one. Just on day one, though. Just on day one. Because you know of all the dictators in the history of our civilization, it's only for a day. Once they have that dictatorial power, they give it back and it's democratic again. He's continuing to do this, Donald Trump. I guess the thesis is when those things are said, we should believe him, take him at his word, right? I mean, don't Republicans say Donald Trump doesn't lie? He's not a liar. He's a truthful man. He's a mighty righteous man of God. He's the chosen one, he said. How many times has he said that? So we should believe him when he says the things that he says. He was in Wisconsin this weekend, and he rambled and ranted and raved, again, bringing up the dictator on day one thing. Now, he couches it in a strange way, and we're going to play, because we've got the clips, we're going to play the full clip from Wisconsin, then we're going to address each point. But I want to play the thing that he mischaracterizes because the MAGA audience doesn't care. You can even see one lady in the background who's just feverishly pumping her fists, just so excited about the fascism on display. It's gross. Anyway, we'll just do this. Let's play the Wisconsin clip, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
I'll tell you another one. Just don't vote. I love these people. Evangelical Christians. The Christian community doesn't vote as much as they should. They go to church. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to church, or we're going to get out and vote. But the evangelicals don't vote that much. And if they did vote, we could never lose an election. You couldn't lose, you know? So I have to be careful with this. I said once about a month ago, you only have to vote this one time, and after that, everything will be good. And the fake news said, see, he wants to be a dictator and take over the country. No, that's not what. I said, we got to fix the country, got to make sure, and then the country will be great, and we're going to have, hopefully, some great person, whether it's JD or somebody else. And when the great Sean Hannity asked me a question, and I jokingly said, he said, okay, let's get this up. You don't want to be a dictator, do you? I said, Sean, I only want to be a dictator for one day, and I'm going to close the borders and drill, baby, drill. But after that, I never want to be a dictator, right? So the fake news took that answer, and they said, Sean, I want to be a dictator. Click. Cut. So he said, Sean, I want to be a dictator. And they go, he wants to be a dictator. They cut the rest of these are the worst people. These are the worst. They said he's a threat to democracy. He wants to be a dictator. No, you know the threat to democracy are when you put incompetent people in charge of our country. That's a real threat to democracy.
Did you see the woman? When he's talking about telling Sean Hannity he wants to be a dictator on day one, and she throws her arms in the air. Woo! Yes! Cheering for this. These same people who act like Donald Trump's not a threat to democracy, they are a threat to democracy. They are willingly laying down so the boot of a fascist Donald Trump regime can press upon their neck. The same people who wave their "Don't Tread on Me" flags. Also, did you catch the evangelicals little sibling? I'm confused, can't pronounce words. Donald Trump. No decline there whatsoever. So he told two stories there. Misrepresented two different times. The time where he told evangelicals and Christians, you don't have to vote after this election. You won't have to. He misrepresented it as though the media ran with some kind of a dictatorial narrative when he said what he said. We all witnessed it. In fact, here it is again if you missed it.
If you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
So Christians won't have to vote anymore if they vote in this election. What does that mean? If you don't have to vote anymore, it means there's no more elections. It means that you're in power devoid of elections, extra constitutionally, extra democratically. It's what it means. And the second thing he misrepresents is the entire dictator narrative when he sat with Sean Hannity that time. And I'll just play it here. They just cut the clip. They just click, they cut, click, they cut. No, they don't. We talked about it in the full context, not just those of us in independent media. The mainstream media did the same thing. They gave it a full context, more context than it needs. He's just a liar. Remember this.
I want to be very, very clear on this. To be clear, do you in any way have any plans whatsoever, if reelected president, to abuse power, to break the law, to use the government to go after people?
You mean like they're using right now? So, in the history of our country, what's happened to us, again, has never happened before. Over nonsense, over nothing, made up charges. I often say Al Capone, he was one of the greatest of all time, if you like criminals. He was a mob boss, the likes of which Scarface, they call him. And he got indicted once. I got indicted 4 times.
I want to go back to this one issue, though, because the media has been focused on this and attacking you.
Yeah.
Under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
what?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill,
That's
drill,
not
drill.
That's not.
No.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be, you know, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one.
And again, a dictator doesn't give up power. Name me a dictator who went back to being democratically elected. Name me one. I'm not going to wait because I'll be waiting for I'll be far grayer than I am now, waiting for an answer because there isn't one. Once someone secures an autocratic rule, an anti-democratic place, that's what they are. They rule with an iron fist, the same thing that he loves about Xi Jinping in China. He rules 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. He loves it. He mused about murdering Americans to Bill Barr, and Bill Barr categorized it as him just blowing off steam. The President of the United States speaking about exterminating, executing Americans. This is who he is. Let's stop giving him the benefit of the doubt. Media, who's asleep at the wheel, not talking about this. It should not fall upon me and people in independent media and you in the audience. They're failing. Obviously, Trump and the Trump campaign and conservatives and Republicans, they're failing, certainly. But the people who should be sounding the alarm are also failing. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can leave a comment below. We can talk about it there. I would encourage that. That'll help YouTube to share this content with new prospective viewers and subscribers. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. I'm knocking on the door of 800,000 subscribers, which is bananas to me, absolutely. Maybe bananas to you too. You're like, what the hell? That's you, 800,000 subscribers? Yeah, I kind of agree. Anyway, you can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. And you can email me, as always, every day, daily@dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to help support this independent media channel, this content, you want to help me make these videos, click the join button, become a channel member for $2 a month. Go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Those are both great ways to help support the work. You can also go to dollemore.info and buy some branded merch, Dollemore Daily, Fight Poverty, Not the Poor. There's some other designs out there. All that goes a long way to supporting the channel too. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine and take care of one another.